Hi guys! Once again, we are here talking about Brexit. I was wanting to do a broadcast on Thursday and also over the weekend, but I've waited till now just to let some things settle. So where are we at? Theresa May is being, I would call her a stroppy belligerent. In fact, I think what she's saying now is virtually blackmail. It's a case of she's saying to the Tories, well, you wouldn't support your deal, so I'm going to go over to Labour. So see how you like that. What became clear to me, though, last week was the desperation of her. There seems to be enormous pressure on her. Now, I would say she's just being a pain in the neck and she should stand aside. But there seems enormous pressure on her from the EU to get this through, and she seems pretty desperate. There are these talks going on with Corbyn. I think that she doesn't want to be involved in these EU elections, although it became, of course, unavoidable when they didn't pass anything on the 29th. So it wasn't really any big news to us that we were going to have to participate in them. But as I say, she seems desperate. Hi, Silke. Hi. And for that reason, I think she is going to push something through. So I said before from my prediction point of view that I did think that either it would be, obviously no deal would have been far preferable, but that she is going to force something through. Something's going to happen. That's why she's intent that this extension only goes to the 30th of June, because she's absolutely intent on getting her withdrawal agreements through. So what are we looking at? These talks with Corbyn. My initial reaction was, I think she's bluffing. I don't think she's going to give anything away. I think she's just going to string him along, try and draw him in so he has to take some of the blame, because at the moment all the pressure's on her shoulders. She wants him to shoulder some of this responsibility as well. In a way, it's quite a good idea to bring him in, because his policy on Brexit is totally incoherent. He wants this, he wants that. He doesn't know what he wants. And also, in terms of the union, it would mean that we'd be subject to trade deals being imposed on us without us having any say in how they were negotiated. Jeremy Corbyn's idea is that we still have a seat on the table when these trade negotiations are taking place. But there's absolutely no guarantee the EU would even grant that. Hi, Glowstat. Hi, Chris Cullen. Hi, guys. So we're looking at the fact that Corbyn's demands are totally, there's no need to believe that the EU would go along with any of them. So the worry here is that, well, we know what Theresa May's negotiating style is. Can I show it to you? It's this. This is how she negotiates. The white flag. I mean, that's exactly her. She seems to give way on everything. So that means when I think of her in these talks with Corbyn, it doesn't inspire me with confidence, because I feel she's going to give way too much ground just for the sake of having her deal go through, because she thinks that delivering Brexit in name only is going to satisfy her. It came to light on one of the shows on LBC last week that they haven't even looked at public opinion. They don't even realize that no deal is now becoming a strong favorite in terms of public opinion. They hadn't even thought of that. They think that they really are going to fob us off with a Brexit that isn't Brexit at all. So now I had a look at, hi pregame, I haven't heard from you before, so nice, welcome aboard. So I had a look at Jeremy Corbyn's chart, and that's when I began to feel a little bit worried, because it looks like he's cock-a-hoop in April. So it looks like he's having quite a good time, like he's got a feather in his cap. So it looks like she's going to concede something to him, something that's going to make him rather popular with his party, and even give him a boost going into the May locals. So that's kind of worrying. Hi, Graham. Hi, Sanjit. Yes, I'm good. How are you guys? Chilly, but otherwise good. This time April last year was heat wave, and now we're really finding it chilly. But no, all good, all good. I'm really much more worried about Brexit than the weather. I obviously am concerned about what she's going to concede, because astrologically I do think she's going to manage to push something through Parliament. She's going to bring something. It won't be her deal. It'll be her deal plus some compromise. However, her deal itself, the withdrawal agreement, can't be changed because that was negotiated with the EU. So that any changes she negotiates with Jeremy Corbyn is going to be within the legal declaration, which of course can be changed. Now, there were suggestions on Sky News that Michael Gove had said to her, look, agree anything you like with Corbyn, and we'll just, when we get another leader or later on, we'll just go back on it. But do you really think Corbyn's that stupid? I don't think he would be. I did see BuzzFeed tweeting that they were negotiating something called a Devo lock, which means that part of this legal declaration is going to be devolved into the different governments. So Theresa May or the leader of the Tories wouldn't be allowed to go back on it without the agreement of the Scottish and Welsh assemblies, which kind of locks it in. So I just wonder, when they're renegotiating this legal declaration about how we handle the next phase, any ground she gives on away to Corbyn, how much of that will be able to be pulled back once we get a new leader? Now, I think what I am surprised about, no, of course, Graham, what's the point of being in a customs union? You know, the thing is, I heard them talking the other day and saying about everyone needs to compromise. Well, as far as I'm concerned, her deal is already a compromise. It's already a Brexit in name only. So we've already compromised. And we're just being asked to compromise more and more and more. A customs union's useless. Isn't this kind of gutless? They're so terrified of no deal. I know that there was talk of someone in the Lords filibustering it to stop this bit of legislation going through. But I find it absolutely gutless. They are so terrified, our political class, of leading. They don't want to lead this country. They just want to remain shackled to their masters in the EU, being told everything. It's very disappointing that this is the kind of leadership. Everyone's saying that this is the worst government, the worst cabinet, the worst set of MPs we've had probably ever. It's weak leadership at its worst. We are absolutely being dictated to. It is a case of being a vassal state, and Nigel Farage is correct when he says it's like we lost a war and we are having this imposed on us. Okay, but let's look at it. So I think she's going to force something through. I think there's something going on with Labour. I think Jeremy Corbyn will be very happy. However, I see later in the year Corbyn running into a lot of problems. I don't know if it's going to be another major scandal, perhaps the anti-Semitism thing, but I think he'll get a stab in the back from his party and they will try and remove him in some way. I'm not sure how that would play out. So although he's feeling rather confident and good in April, that it all goes west for him later in the year. There's a total reversal and doesn't look very good for him then. So it's interesting to know what's going to happen. Maybe the Tories will stab him in the back and say, we'll offer you all this, and then they'll change their mind. Goodness knows. I know that at the heart of anything is got to be her withdrawal agreement has to be passed. And then, of course, it's in the legal declaration whether we're going to have customs union, single market, all that. In a way, yes, exactly. Thank you, Jareem. Yes, I enjoy doing this. I mean, there's so much scope. I mean, actually, a cousin of ours wrote to us over the weekend and he had some questions about Brexit, really intelligent questions from someone who's in South Africa, their perspective. And I actually spent so long recording him messages about trying to explain how it works, why they can't dissolve Parliament, the role of the Speaker, blah, blah, blah. So immensely complicated. I don't know how anyone's even grasping it overseas. What I don't agree with is how people say, oh, the MPs, they're just squabbling, they're just behaving like children. It's got nothing to do with children. It's got to do with politics, really. It's nothing to do with they behaving like children. They're behaving like people who are all trying to push for their way, to push their ideology or to push for what's best for them. So I don't think it's really about children. It's about a very dirty political game. Talking about dirty, Oliver Letwin, right? When the MPs, remember when they had that lockdown, and they were joking on LBC that she'd locked all her cabinet in a broom closet and she was plying them with alcohol, and they had these talks for 7 hours, after which she came out and said she was going to talk to Labour. Apparently, Oliver Letwin had gone around and he said to all the sort of Yvette Cooper and all the remaining MPs that Theresa May was edging very, very close to no deal, which was a lie. She wasn't at any stage. But he said that to whip them all up, so that they'd work so hard together to push that legislation through to stop no deal. So it's dirty tricks going on all round. The big question I have is, although, hi Jonathan, hi Climate, yes you did, you caught me live. It's really hard for me to predict when I'll be on, because for example, I wanted to go on just now and then my computer had you know how it gets every time you do Windows updates, when you reboot it, there are these little irritating glitches, and it takes about 3 reboots after the whatever. So after the updates to run smoothly again. So I couldn't even go on when I wanted because of this glitch. Jonathan, hi Lisa, have you heard? I heard Justine Greening would throw her hat in the ring for Conservative. Oh, wonderful. Justine Greening. Yes, another one hanging on by a thread in Battersea, is she? I'd like to know what her credentials are for the leadership. Really, she's hung around for a long time in the Tory party. She's never really come to the fore as anyone with any gravitas. But yes, I suppose she'd be putting her hat in the ring. I actually had a look at the charts of Esther McVey and David Davis. Now, surprisingly enough, because I thought David Davis was on the edges. It seems that he might come to the fore again, and Esther McVey might also be a strong contender in a key role. Maybe not as leader, but I think it could be David Davis prior to Boris. He could come to the fore again as something strong. I'd much prefer that. I mean, I think what I've been looking at is, even though it's kind of pessimistic when Theresa talking to Jeremy Corbyn and all that, and going for the customs union, I note that the ERG and the backbenchers aren't kicking up a massive fuss. No resignations. It's almost like the cabinet, they're almost waiting for Groundhog Day before they pull the plug on her. It's almost like they went too soon for the no confidence vote in December. They didn't get that right. This time they're more reticent. They are just waiting for her to step over that line. And she's got so close. She's lied about everything. She's dropped her red lines. She's in her, like Nigel Farage was talking about her speech over the weekend from Chequers, saying it's now her deal or no Brexit. She's pushing everyone so far. She's basically blackmailing us. She never sticks to anything she says. And I think they are just waiting for her to just go a little bit too far. Well, she's really gone too far, but, one more step too far until they're going to come in. But they've all been very, very quiet, which makes me think that something is going on behind the scenes. It's possible that some of the Tories have faith that she's just stringing Jeremy Corbyn along and she's not really going to give any ground. Maybe they think that'll be okay. Or maybe they're just waiting to see how this pans out. And then they say, okay, we've had enough. We don't care now. It's got so bad. We'd rather go to a general election. And I get the feeling from the people outside of the Tory and Labour, like the Nigel Farages, the George Galloways, they're getting quite excited. It's almost like we're having a reboot of Brexit. We missed the 29th. We're going to miss the 12th of April. Goodness knows when we're going to get it. However, our side has realised now that after the 23rd, we kind of kicked back a little bit. But now we're coming forward again. The opinion polls are now moving more strongly in favour of no deal, which is better. It's not just in favour of Brexit. It's in favour of something definite. So they can't say to us, well, you don't know what you're voting for. No, we are being asked now, do we want no deal? That's the way opinion polls are moving. So I do think that the people are gathering a head of steam again. The people in Leave Means Leave, Kate Hoey and whatever, we are gathering our forces again and getting ready for a second wave. And in some cases, I think a lot of Brexiteers would be glad if either something major happened, like the government falling, anything, so we can get a new election, even if Article 50 was revoked and we could trigger it again to reboot and start the process from the beginning. So I think that while a lot of people are demoralized with what's happening, they're seeing that if it all fell apart, or if we could make it all fall apart, there's still hope to get this whole thing started again. But I think the key is getting rid of her. She is not easy to get rid of, and she feels she's on a mission. She feels divinely inspired. It's almost like Tony Blair used to feel that God was on his side and he was divinely inspired. And she has the sense too that it's almost a God-given right she has to delivering this terrible, terrible deal, which everyone says no one's got anything good to say about it. Sanjit, I don't think the country cares for economic downturn. We need a strong leader. Well, you can't get anything right unless you've got a strong leader, and it's about time. She's weak. How can you have a leader that goes back on every one of her red lines? And I'm sure anyone out there who's gone through a divorce or a business disagreement, or any kind of negotiation, you've never gone through this whole divorce or negotiation for 2 years with never walking out. She never did. She never walked out. She never played a trump card. She never acted difficult. She never had a handbag moment like we hear about Margaret Thatcher, did she? So I can only conclude that this is Angela Merkel's deal. I do believe Farage is right when he says that, absolutely. Just a couple of things there. In a way, the single market Norway style is so much better than the customs union, because although it's got the free movement, at least you can do the trade deals. And look, free movement I don't think is such a big deal, because they've shown no signs of dealing with immigration. Even, look, you can't deal with European immigration right now, but you can deal with the rest of the world, but they don't deal with it. So I don't think under either circumstance they're going to change anything to do with immigration. So it's no real point in holding out on a red line about that. Single market would still be better. To be in customs union and single market, utterly ridiculous, Yes. Also with Brexit Party, I'm really concerned with this Brexit Party. It isn't a vanity project of Nigel Farage. I think it has potential to do a lot of damage and to split the vote. When Henry Bolton was disgraced, in UKIP, that was the time when Nigel could have come back and said, I'm joining UKIP. Well, he was still a member, wasn't he? He could have run for the leadership then, but he didn't want anything to do with it. He was quite happy for UKIP to go to the wall because they were having financial problems. They hadn't done well in the 2017 election, and he didn't want to touch it. He wasn't going to go and help the guys out and reboot UKIP. He walked away, left it all to Gerard Batten, who's done a very good job at making it solvent again, getting membership up, and he talks very sensibly. And now all Farage does is have a go at Batten. But what Batten was saying is that the Brexit Party is not really a political party. It's more like Nigel's cult, and they're not members, they're subscribers. So it's got no national executive committee or anything. So he's like totally in control of it, and that's how he likes it. He doesn't want to have to answer to anyone. He wants to call the shots, run the show, be the big deal in it, and that's how he wants to run that particular party. It's not got any legs in terms of local elections, and he's got an enormous amount of work to do to actually prepare for the European elections. I think all he could end up doing is costing UKIP votes and diluting, the Eurosceptic vote, which I don't think would really be very helpful. So I think what he's doing is more of a vanity project than anything else. I hope it is kind of successful, but at the same time, it could be counterproductive. Yeah. Okay, Silke, I'm quite impressed with Gerard. Yes, he speaks very nicely and he stays calm. And, they're always throwing the same old nutmegs at him. They don't seem to realize the law of diminishing returns to scale. If you keep using the words racism, xenophobic, little Englanders, these words have totally lost their power because they've been used for inappropriate situations, and now no one takes any notice of them. And Gerard did a very good interview on LBC with Matt Fry, and he had all the normal ridiculous questions thrown at him, deflected them beautifully. But Matt Fry was sort of saying, oh, you can't use words like traitor and what. I'm sorry, we're adults. We are allowed to use robust vocabulary in order to have debates and discussions. We are not talking to children. We can't be expected to sugarcoat our language in fluffy speak because we are adults. You can't start wiping out words in the Oxford English Dictionary and sanctioning our use of vocabulary to suit an agenda. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Are we adults or are we babies? We must be able to use the full scope of language to express ourselves. It's absolute nonsense. Traitor is not even a particularly strong word, I don't think. Although I note it was quite fine to call people on the right or Brexiteers. It was quite all right to call us all the names in the book, including Nazi. It's all right for people like Katie Hopkins to have death threats and to have a play made about her called The Assassination of Katie Hopkins. That is fine. I don't hear any problems about that. But oh no, you call Anna Soubry a traitor, and oh, the poor dear, she needs counselling or something. Someone has to go to jail for that. I'm afraid this is ridiculous. Precisely. Hi, Chika. Will Brexit trigger Nigeria for disintegration? Chika, yes, I'm going to look into Nigeria more. I'm just very interested in what's going on there because I have heard people in my day-to-day life from Nigeria chatting to me about what's going on, and it's definitely a sad situation. They need more support, and I think they should be in the news every day what's going on there, and it's never reported. Some areas will have a UKIP candidate, other will have Nigel's party. Yes, yes, to talk about the Newport West by-election, right? Turnout 37%. Labour got about 9,000 votes, Tories about 7,000. UKIP got 2,025. So UKIP's vote went up a lot. They were the third largest party. But can you believe it? It's a seat that voted leave, and they still turn out to elect a Remain MP, Labour MP. However, one thing the Conservatives will look at there, if those people hadn't voted UKIP and they voted Conservatives could have actually taken that seat. So, it's something for the Conservatives to think about going forward, because now they can see that the UKIP cost them that seat. So it might give them pause for thought. Okay, if I think of anything else, I might just come back in a few minutes, but I'm just going to end this right now. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the excellent comments there. I'll read through some of them, see if there's anything I need to come back on.